love having you on because you literally have a frame of reference for every single team. I love bothering Matt Muehlbach generally in the evenings when he gets off, and he says, you and Rhino are the only two that can literally remember every single team season. So I want to take you back to 1995-96 right here. You got Arizona loses Damon Stoudemire, arguably one of the 2 or 3 best players in school history, goes into the season unranked. You've got a lot of talent. You've got JB, you got Ben Davis. Obviously, Ben was the catalyst throughout the year, and you had a plethora of solid guys around the perimeter. I don't want to put Reggie as solid because he was on that, but there was a template there, and you guys were able to beat teams up inside, especially early on. Do you think there could be some of that this year with Ballo, with Tabellas, with Vasar, just continuously coming at you while you've got the solid role players on the outside?
Yeah, very valid comparison on multiple fronts. I'll start with just what we lost in into the 95-96 season, and you mentioned it, and it's a similar comparison. Damon Stoudemire, his senior year, 1995, led the Pac-10 at the time in scoring and assists. So literally every play went through him.
Right.
It was a lot of on-ball screens at the top of the key, was our 1 and 4 call as we had it with Lute. Lute had 5 play calls. That was it. And the 1 and the 4 were almost very similar plays. And what Damon did for that team in 95 was set the table for so much of his teammates, and then obviously led the league in scoring. We have similar type of transitions, right? You look at how Arizona scored in last season. A lot of ball movement, led the nation in assists per game. So let's not be crazy to think that it was just Ben Mathurin.
Right.
But the way in which Arizona scored last year is going to have to be different this year based on personnel. And I do think that is a very valid comparison when you look at the experience of the core players. You've got Kirk Kriisa entering into his 3rd year, Julius Tabellas in his 3rd year, Pelle Larsson in his 3rd year, Umar Ballo, I believe, is in his 4th year. You've got some solid, if not better than solid, much like you mentioned with Arizona's returners into that 95-96 season. But no one is going to probably average north of 18, 19 points per game. I think Azuolas has the potential. I think Pella is going to be a double-digit scorer for sure. I think Umar Ballo is going to be a double-digit scorer, but I don't see them in the upper teens pushing into the 20s.
Right.
And so how Arizona scores is going to be very much different, but the ball movement and the culture and the offensive flow that Tommy started with that foundation last year, I think will really pay dividends on a year this year. It did last year too, trust me. But this year, when you don't have Ben Mathurin go get us a bucket anytime we need it, we will rely on more team flow this year than even we did last year. And so I just don't anticipate a huge dip offensively. It will be done differently.
Right.
There will be times, end of shot clock, end of half, end of games that are close. We're going to have to figure out a way of, the question is, who's the go-to guy? Well, guess what? There's not a lot of teams across the country that have the one guy that's going to go get his and can get it night in and night out in any given year. So Tommy's built that offensive flow foundation, and it's very comparable to that transition from the 95 team to the 96 team.